Okay, I had a lot of nice comments, so thank you very much, from various sources, emails and off YouTube and a couple of news groups regarding the Charlie Billy Boogie, and a couple of people asking, yeah, to take me up on my offer to give an explanation. So here it is. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Before we get into the specifics, some general stuff first of all. We'll just talk through a few general elements that crop up throughout the Charlie Billy Boogie. Cover those off first of all, and save me having to do them all again in each chorus. But basically it is a 12-bar blues. It's 12-bar or 12-bar sequence, not a blues, 12-bar rockabilly sequence in the key of E. But we'll talk about some general bits first of all before we get into the specifics. Okay, here we go. We're in E, and something that's used throughout this tune is this idea of so it's the minor third to the major third, and either hitting the root or going on up. But that sound of minor third to major third is just everywhere in blues and swing. You know, if you were playing rock and roll in the key of A, or, you know, so you hear it all the time. So we're going to get a lot of that. We're back in the key of E. So that's the first thing. So look out for that sound. Look out for that everywhere. It's just such a nice sound. Secondly, 6 notes, or 6 chords, 6 notes in the key of E, D flat. In swing music, we hear 6 a lot. I hear them all the time. Whenever I hear a note that's just a little bit unusual, but that I really like the sound of, it normally turns out to be a 6 note. So we're going to be hearing this note a lot, combined with that last run that I just said. You know, there's the root, so we're going to hear that a lot. So 6 notes, and in chords as well. I love the 6. I think even if notes go by too fast sometimes for people to particularly hear them, the tonality somehow is present. 6 notes. Okay, same with ninths. We're going to hit some ninths as well. We're going to hear some ninth notes. Chords. One of the things. This is just bass and drums backing, so I need to fill in some gaps, which we'll talk about as we go through. And I try and hit the 6 chords sometimes because I like it. With just bass and drums, sometimes I can play, for example, F sharp minor, F sharp 7th stroke 9th, going down to an E 7th, so I can get some extra chords on top that maybe wouldn't fit if you have pianos and rhythm guitars, but because it's just bass and drums, I can do those. So that's going to come in there as well. I think that's probably it. If you look out for the 6 notes and the major to minor thing, I think that probably covers the general points. Anything else we'll talk about during the course of the individual choruses. Okay. Chorus number 1 comes directly from Charlie Christian, and it's a tune entitled Gone with What Wind. I don't know what wind they're talking about. I'm guessing that Gone with the Wind probably came out around this time. I don't know. Might be way off the mark, but I'm guessing that's where it comes from. So the first chorus is one of the ensemble riffs from that tune, Gone with What Wind. I think it was written by Benny Goodman, Count Basie, and Charlie Christian. So it's a good pedigree. Okay, first chorus. Okay, chorus number 1, straight out of Gone with What Wind. Should really start with that little riff I was just talking about. We're at the 12th fret. But on the actual version I did earlier, the drums caught me by surprise, so I started actually on this note, but it does sound nice with that little lead in. But nevertheless, so I actually started on the 12th fret. The the riff lasts 4 bars or 3 bars with a break for the bits that I put in, and it's that's the first half of it. So I think we got 8 notes on the E, then we've got G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, and then the same an octave down, G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B. Excuse me. So far, and then we hit the E note, so we're at the 9th fret there, which is the root, and then we do that thing that I already mentioned in the general section, minor to major hammer on, so the end of the riff, and that's it. And that lasts about 3 bars, which gives me a little bit of space to put some chords in, as I was talking about. And the first time round, the chords I put in, I'm basically trying to get that E7 sound leading us into the second 4 bars of the sequence. So I want that E7th, so I'm just hitting this E down to D, which is the 7th note. That's a nice leading note, but to fill out the sound I'm doing it with actual whole chords, so I just used E, E flat, D type sound. So we had this. Okay, another thing I'm doing a lot here is sliding up and down. Sometimes I'm sliding in place of doing the little leading notes. I just like that. It gives it a little bit of energy, that sliding around. So we do that. I've put in the chords, and then exactly the same thing again. And that's over the second 4 bars, and this time exactly the same. You can put in whatever you want, something like this. If you had horns, they could fill in that gap. You don't have to do it on guitar. As I explained, I'm filling in the gap because it's just bass and drums backing. If you have piano or backing vocals or whatever you want, so you can just let that little gap ride. And then the third time, same thing again. I did a video on YouTube that explained the classic rockabilly idea of playing the same riff over the first 4 bars, the second 4 bars, and changing it for the last 4 bars of a 12-bar sequence. So you can dig out that video if you want. It's only short, but it's just a sound that I hear a lot in rockabilly. However, here Charlie Christensen plays exactly the same thing over the third 12 bar as well, and sort of it fits. You just got to have confidence and play it, and it still fits over that sound. And that's it. That's the first 12 bars. So 15th fret, 14th, 12, 15, 14, 12, 12, 11, 10, 12, 11, 10. And I just move in between that. That's just an E chord, E6, and then just E6, E flat to lead into the second 12 bars. Only other comment to say is octaves are your friend. I mean, octaves are just great. So here, we're just playing octaves. You know, you could, you could just do the same thing all over the guitar. And if you know a little run in on 2 strings anywhere, something like that, just move it up an octave. Suddenly you've got a run that's going up the guitar, all for the simple fact that you only knew it on 2 strings, but just move it up to the next octave. Things like that. So octaves are your friend. We'll see them at the end, or we'll see them towards the end when we do the run, that run as well. So octaves are your friend there. So just fool around with octaves anyway. They're great, really helpful. But that's the first chorus, nice and simple, one riff throughout. The second chorus is another ensemble riff from the same song. It's, again, I'm guessing a Charlie Christian riff, even though all the guys wrote the song, so I don't know who actually came up with the riff, but I like to think it's Charlie. His work is full of such riffs as this one, so chorus number 2. Same song, same idea, which is to play one riff throughout the entire sequence rather than changing it for the last 4 bars, as I mentioned just now. Now this is quite an interesting one in the sense that the riff stays the same, but obviously as the underlying harmony changes, so the power of the notes, the sort of chord tonality or outside note tonality or whatever changes. So that even though the riff's staying the same, the fact that the chords beneath are changing adds a nice dimension to it. We're on the 12th fret 3rd string and then 14th fret 2nd string. We play that 4 times. And Charlie plays it with a nice bit of syncopation that I probably don't, but you can dig out the original record and hear that. So it does. So we slide down to the 11th, then we hit the root, and we get that 6th note that we've talking about back to the root. So, and there's that riff again. I mentioned we're going to see a lot, minor to major. And here, just to go back, you know, that's a 6. This is the minor over the E. So that really works. When we change to the A chord, we do the same riff again. But this time that'll be a 7th to a 3rd, to a major 3rd. And then when it changes to the B, this will be something else altogether. What's that going to be? A sharp 5th or flat 5th or something. So it's going to change yet again. That'll be a 9th over the B. So again we come back to 6ths and 9ths. So that's the riff. Sorry. And then in between, again, just like the first chorus, I want to fill it up with some chord tones. So I'm just hitting E major, E major, and E6 just to fill it up. Try and get a little bit of the old western swing sound. I don't know whether I succeed or whether I fail, but here I leave the slide right to the last moment and slide up to just as I start the riff, and it's just kind of got a sense of the western swing about it to me, but I might just be wishful thinking, sort of last time round I can't remember what I did, but again it's just something like this just to take us into the third chorus. So simple so far. Chorus number 3, we're going to move away from Charlie Christian. This I used to play in a country band. I used to play in country bands for many years, and this the first 2/3 of a chorus 3 is one of those country riffs that I don't know where I got it from. Somebody gave me this along the way, or I heard it, or I transcribed it and got it wrong, or I saw it, and I don't know. But it's a country riff, but I think it fits into this style really nicely. And here we go. The third chorus moves away from Charlie Christian very briefly, and then this riff is more of a 7th sounding riff than a 6, and we're going to use this shape. We're going to use the same shape that we just touched on briefly in the second chorus, all the way up there. So it's the D shape, D sharp, but played in the E position. I use this shape all the time for lead guitar. There's some lovely riffs you can get out of playing over this shape. Here we're going to change the fingering slightly. What we want to do is get a 7th sound. So instead of playing it the normal way, we're going to just use the first 2 fingers, and by dropping the third, dropping the 4th finger onto the 3rd string 2 frets up, that's the 7th note. So that makes up a D chord, an E chord, and that adds the 7th note. So that's actually an E7th. By playing it like this, and also hitting these 2 open strings that are part of an E chord, we get this. This sound. So E, play them open, hit the 7th. So all sorts of rhythms, and I'll be honest, I play it different every time I play it, but it's basically exactly the same, do exactly the same thing, but all the way up on the 9th and 10th fret for an A. still let those two notes ring out, even though now they're not so much part of an A chord as they were with the E. In fact, now we're getting the ninth note coming in, but I just let it ride. Back to the E. Now the vagaries of the backing track that I was using this time, and just picked it at random actually from, I've got loads of backing tracks in various sources, for the only time during these 6 choruses, when it gets to the bars 9, 10 and 11, 12, I'd actually put a 2-5-1 in, so it was going from F minor to B7th back to the E, whereas every time else in the song it just uses the B7th. So I talked about, if you look up another one of my videos, I sound like one of those guys trying to sell a book by referring to all his other books, but I talked about 2-5-1s in my Spicing Up a 12-Bar Blue video. Spicing Up a 12-Bar Blues video. So I won't go through the theory now, but suffice to say, just for this chorus, the backing track uses F sharp minor, B7th, back to the E. So all I do here is play up one arpeggio and down another. Nothing clever. This isn't going to, challenge Jimmy Bruno or anything. So F sharp minor and the arpeggio. Simple as that, straight up. So F sharp, A, D flat, what's that? Sorry, D flat, E, F sharp, A, C sharp, E. You can get a nice little sort of what do they call it, sweep. Falls under the fingers nicely, and then B7th, I just come down a B7th arpeggio. So you all know this shape. And then into the E chord where I did the we've already spoken about. So we put those two together. Chorus number 4, we are back to Gone with What Wind. This is the first guitar solo. Charlie plays 2 choruses. This is the first chorus, and more or less as he plays it, a couple of little additions, but basically Charlie's solo. Okay. So picture this E chord, and all we're going to do is just play semitone approach notes to the first, to the E, and to the A flat. So 14th fret and 13th are going to from a fret below. Now, in order to fill the sound out, I hit a bass note. Charlie doesn't do that. He's clearly got more confidence than me. So I'm going, hitting the root note just to bump up that sound. Same thing again. Then we hit that, which is going right back to that riff that I mentioned at the beginning. We demonstrated that in the general section. So that's the minor to the 3rd, 12th fret to the 13th, root note, the E on the 14th fret, and hitting that 6th note. What I wish I did, I should have done this at the beginning. I should have gone. I think that instead of playing 2 E's, hit the A flat would have made it nicer. So anyway, we get then straight up the arpeggio again, E, A flat, B, C sharp, which is the 6th note, and hit the 7th. So we'll come in straight down. Chromatically down from the E to the D flat. We're actually on the 4 chord by now. It's really nice when you can play a line that just cuts across the changes like this. So we're now on the A, and if you look at the next 3 notes, that just outlining an A7th chord. So what we've got there is back to that same thing that we've spoken about many times. So I'm going to play it all so far. Up the 7th, A7, back to that original thing that we spoke about. Now I do that twice. Charlie actually starts the next riff, which is A flat and the A. He starts that a couple of beats early, but it just fries my brain. I just don't have the, I just can't count it right. I wish I could. So I play, I do that twice to fill in the gap, and then right on the bar line start. So just top two strings at the 12th fret, then the 12th fret, just bend that G up slightly and hit the root note, and then twice finish with that riff that we mentioned right at the beginning. And this is kind of thematic, if that's the right word. I try to get this in the solo a lot. It starts to link it all up, starts to be like the glue that even if you don't consciously, if you're not consciously aware of it, getting a few little bits in that relate right through the solo kind of works, I think. So sorry. Then I do that again. And that's straight out of Gone with What Wind. I keep saying this, dig out some Charlie Christian. It's just chock full of solos as sweet as that one. Course number 5, still more Charlie Christian, hence the name, Charlie Billy Boogie. This is from a song called Shivers. So now we move away from Gone with What Wind to this song called Shivers, which is a wonderful song. It's got a great guitar solo in there, but we're just going to use the riff. And what I tried to do on this is even though I'm just picking riffs and sort of gluing them together, I tried to do it with some semblance of thought. And this riff, it fits in really nicely again with this intro, but also as we come out of that last bit where we went, I can immediately do the same thing again. And all I'm doing on this riff is 12th fret, 14th fret, which is the 9th, the 5th, which is a B, and the 6th. So this is doing all those things that we've already spoken about, 6th and 9th. That's the riff. Simple as that, but how great is that? I wish I'd thought of it. And then I'm trying to get that western swing, fill in the gap. I play that, and I love those slides. And as I said earlier, sometimes I'll slide into riffs rather than do those opening notes. But essentially this one also goes back to something else I mentioned earlier. This time we only play that riff over the first 8 bars, not the last 4. So we're getting this, we're getting okay, so very subtly different on the second time round. It puts 2 together, but you get the sense of it. So that's it. You can either slide into it or do the whatever you like. So that's the riff from Shivers. This time when we hit the 5 chord, the B7th, I do change, unlike the first 2 choruses. So here what I'm looking at is another Charlie Christensen riff. I can't remember where this comes from. One of those that I've picked up or transcribed along the way. Same thing. We're on B now, but the same thing that I'll talk about over and over again. This time we hit the ninth note. which is the 9th fret, 9th note, 9th fret. That's the riff. I can't actually remember what I did on the second half of that, so what I tried to do is get a sense of moving towards this, which is going to be the end of this solo, of this chorus. So something like, I can't remember, but it was basically just a blues scale riff on over a B. So the first half is definitely Charlie. I don't know, you make something up. and that comes into, again, the vagaries of the backing track. They just happen to have a stop at this point in the 5th chorus. So I thought, what can I do? But again, trying to add a little thought to it. I wanted to sort of build up towards the end. So mentioned octaves earlier. All I'm doing here, I'm going up from the E to the B, and I'm just doing an octave. So there's an E, there's an E. Simple as that. So we had, and that was it along those lines. And the last chorus, number 6, we move again away from Charlie Christian, and this time we just play some standard rockabilly licks with a nice little diminished ending that I kind of got wrong on the first video, but hopefully get it right this time. Thank you. I wanted to kind of build the whole thing up to as exciting as an ending as I'm capable of creating, so we just drop in some very standard rockabilly ideas. And the first one is that we've come out of this, want something nice and exciting but easy. I prefer easy stuff, so I'm just going to use the old double stop idea. We're in E, so we're just going to let the top E string ring. Will to be in tune, but we're very slightly out, but just tuned it so the intonation was better up the top. 5th fret, this one's ringing open, down to the 3rd fret, back to the 5th, back up to the 8th. So this is, if we were being musical about this is the root, this is the 7th, this is the root, this is the minor. So it gives it that bluesy feel. What I'm aiming for is the thing that I mentioned right at the beginning in chorus number 1, where we were looking for that 7th sound when we went to move to the bar number 5. I want the end on the 7th, which is a D note. So my target note here, if you like, almost do whatever you want as long as you hit that 7th at the right moment. That's where I hit it, so that's all I'm doing there. Just have fun with that. And then again, another standard rockabilly thing. So we're over the A chord, and you all know this. And there's something nice about this, which I can say I wish I designed into this song, but I didn't. It's luck. But this is an echo right back to the beginning of. Same thing, so we do the same thing at the beginning of the song as we do at the end. It kind of adds a nice sort of circular idea to the composition. If you can do those things, I guess it's really good, like a good film where the ending sort of matches the beginning or sort of harks back to the beginning. But here it's purely accidental, so take no credit for it, but so that's over the A. Then again, still trying to keep a driving feel towards the end of the song, I do the same thing back over the E, but this time just moving up on the E string, trying to get some rise in excitement. So 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, sorry, 3, 2, 0, 4, 2, 0, 5, 3, 0, 7, 4, 0. It's starting to sound like Eddie Van Halen or something, you know. And then I just hit that B note. I was going to go for the harmonica, but I didn't have the faith in my own ability. Like that. And then here's where I really had this nice diminished, as we hit the B7th, I had this idea for a really nice diminished run, which I cocked up totally, which is a shame. The thing that I was aiming for was that's the riff I was looking to get, and I missed it altogether. This comes from sort of Django Reinhardt style, where they often use over the 5 chord going back to the 1, so in this case the B7th leading back to an E, they would use a diminished run. And that's the sound I was shooting for. I think, you know, diminished chords in rockabilly or diminished sounds, Brian Setzer uses it. I think it's part of the canon these days, and I wanted to get it but I missed it. But you can hopefully play it better than I can. So this is the run. So there's the B note, but we're not starting there, we're starting on the E flat. It's actually, if you're interested in the it's actually a C diminished scale, and for sort of technical reasons or music theory reasons, C diminished scale is a nice scale to play over the B7th chord. If you look at this, here's a way to describe. If you look at just the top strings of the guitar, that's a C diminished. There's the C note. Hopefully you know that diminished shape. If we just slide that down 1 fret, we get our B7th. So you can see there's only C diminished, B7th, very close. So anyway, we had that's what I was shooting for. And for the very end of the song, I'd go back again to that idea about octaves. We're just going to play a fragment of the blues scale. Again, advertise another of my own videos. Have a look at my 5 concepts video where I talk about just using fragments of something, you know. Here, the fragment is part of a blues scale. This is the blues scale. That's the whole E blues scale, but now I'm just going to use the first 4 notes and an octave, and again, except the last time I don't have time for the last note. I go great ending chord, E6, E9. So the ending would have been, had I got it right, and it would have been a, but I didn't quite get it. There we go. You will. Well, that's your lot. Hopefully that was helpful, or at least a little bit helpful. As with all my videos, it's more about the concept, the idea, than the actual notes. So in this case, it's about taking somebody's riffs and ideas and putting them into maybe a genre that they didn't originate from. And you could do it, you know, it doesn't have to be Charlie Christensen, it can be anybody. There'd be piano players, horn players, rock players. You know, if you're a Richie Blackmore fan, you could do the same thing with him. So yeah, so like I say, you know, I don't know if it's very helpful, a little bit helpful, not helpful at all, but you know, maybe there's something in there. But appreciate you watching, and appreciate the nice comments on the original video. That's really good. Thank you very much.